up inside her mother. How does she get out? The simple answer is she's pushed out. After about 9 months, mom's had enough. The baby is now ready to come out, and nature starts things moving in the right direction. So it talks about the contractions a little bit, and they get closer. The last part is the hardest. Now when you think how big the baby is and how small the opening is, you can imagine what hard work it is for the mother. That's why this part of the birth is called being in labor. It can take a long time and it's very, very tiring, but in the end, out comes the baby looking red in the face. Okay, the mother has to push the baby out through the opening between her legs, and what she uses to do the pushing are all the muscles inside her stomach. Okay, then it talks about the belly button, and it sort of just wraps it up at the end there. So again, a classic you can get at your local library. Could be a good option for you, but there's so many now. So just, check out all these book reviews, see if there's one that resonates with you the best, and you can decide which books you want to use to teach your children about where babies come from. Okay? Jen Elledge, again, sexual health expert, and I'll see you in our next book review. Bye-bye. Where did I come from? This is a classic book, originally published in 1977, still in print. A lot of families still read this to their children, probably had this read to them as well. Written by Peter Mayle? Not sure how to pronounce his last name. But this is a classic that's been on the market for a long time. So let's take a look at Where Did I Come From? Which, by the way, you might get that question from your kids, where did I come from? And before you get a book on what sex is, maybe you should ask them exactly what they mean, because maybe they want to know if they're Irish American or German American or something like that. They might be asking their heritage and not necessarily how babies are made. So clarify before you get into that. But if you do get that question and you're looking for a book, this might be an option for you. This comes in different versions where they've actually changed the skin color of the babies. So this one is an African American one. Okay, so this book is a little step up. This wouldn't be maybe it could be your first book, but I would say it probably would be maybe a second book after you've had some conversations about where babies come from, because this is going to have more detail to it. Okay, so let's take a look at some of it. Okay, so let's see. Some of the people have said that babies come from the stork. The cat brought me in one night. Dad got me from the saloon. I was a Christmas present from the fairies. Mom found me at the hospital. So it's kind of teasing about some of the different ways that kids are told that where babies come from, okay? Now that you know that none of that is true, the truth is much more interesting than that. So we'll start at the very beginning. Little people are made by bigger people. The first thing to know is that babies are made by grown-ups. One of them has to be a woman and one a man. In other words, the two people who made you were your mother and your father. Now, if you put your mother and your father in the bath together, you'd notice something interesting. They are not made at all the same way. You'll probably notice that already, but you notice it much more when you put them in the bath together. Quite apart from being different sizes, they are different shapes and they have different parts to their body. So you'll see a picture of mom and dad in the bath. So you're gonna see pictures of the genitals in this book, okay? Actually, that's a little more detailed there, all right? What the differences are. This is important because it's different parts make it possible for your mother and your father to make you. In fact, it's so important that we've done two big pictures so that you can see just what's what. Don't worry if the pictures don't look too much like your mother and father. The important parts are the same on all of us, even you. Let's start at the top of the picture and see what the differences are. So it talks about the woman's chest, different names that you might hear them called. So it goes over the breasts. Take a look further down. You see the hips. And look further between the legs. Both the man and the woman have a lot of furry hair there. So it's talking about pubic hair. Don't worry, you'll have some too as you get older. The penis, but the important thing to notice is that the man has something hanging between his legs that the woman doesn't have. All you boys have one and yours will grow bigger as you grow bigger. Just like breasts, this hanging part has a lot of different names too, but the right name for it is the penis. Okay, the vagina. But what does the woman have between her legs? She has a little opening called a vagina. It rhymes with Carolina. All right, now if you can remember those two names, the penis and the vagina, we'll get on to how a baby is made. What happens is this. Let's say the man and the woman are lying in bed together. This part often happens in bed because a bed is so nice and comfortable. The man loves the woman, so he gives her a kiss, and she gives him a kiss, and they hug each other very tight. And after a while, the man's penis becomes stiff and hard and much bigger than it usually is. It gets bigger because it has lots of work to do. Okay, so you do get a visual here of them, you know, in the bed with hearts above their heads. By this time, the man wants to get as close to the woman as he can because he's feeling very loving to her. And to get really close, the best thing he can do is lie on top of her and put his penis inside her into her vagina. Okay, making love. This is a very nice feeling for both the man and the woman. He likes being inside her and she likes him being inside her. It's called making love because it all starts with the man and the woman loving each other. It's a difficult feeling to describe, but if you can imagine a gentle tingly sort of tickle that starts in your stomach and spreads all over, that will give you some idea of what it's like. So, an interesting explanation. And as you know, when you're feeling tickly, you wriggle about a bit. It's just the same here, except it's a special kind of wriggling. Okay, so that's kind of how it describes it. It gets in a little more detail, and it talks about when the tickling stops. So it's kind of one of those reads where you might feel a little bit embarrassed when you read it, so you just want to make sure you go through it first so you don't have any shock or any facial expressions that are going to set a tone that you weren't intending to set with your children, because it's trying to be funny, so some of the parts will kind of make your eyebrows go up a little bit. It could, but it's cute. You know, it talks about the sperm getting together, and you know, there's multiple babies here. And then talks about it growing for 9 months, and it goes through each month, what's happening. Okay, so the birthday. Okay, now we come to the day that all of us have been through and none of us remembers, our real birthday. They're up inside her mother. How does she get out? The simple answer is she's pushed out. After about 9 months, mom's had enough. The baby is now ready to come out, and nature starts things moving in the right direction. So it talks about the contractions a little bit, and they get closer. The last part is the hardest. Now when you think how big the baby is and how small the opening is, you can imagine what hard work it is for the mother. That's why this part of the birth is called being in labor. It can take a long time and it's very, very tiring, but in the end, out comes the baby looking red in the face. Okay, the mother has to push the baby out through the opening between her legs, and what she uses to do the pushing are all the muscles inside her stomach. Okay, then it talks about the belly button, and you know, it sort of just wraps it up at the end there. So again, a classic you can get at your local library. Could be a good option for you, but there's so many now. So just, you know, check out all these book reviews, see if there's one that resonates with you the best, and you can decide which books you want to use to teach your children about where babies come from. Okay? Jen Elledge, again, sexual health expert, and I'll see you in our next book review. Bye-bye.